I'm Tigerhite, and I'm here to make WWE Smackdown and Pro Wrestling Majestic again. It was overall a good show. The crowd was super hot. I think I only heard a CM Punk chant 2 or 3 times, and it went on for maybe a second. So people were actually involved within the show and not just being CM Punk marks, which I was a little concerned about given that they were in Chicago, but overall I'm satisfied. And they had a well-structured show. Some questionable decisions, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Let's kick off with our first segment, which was Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair, and Shotzi. It was fine. Shotzi was probably the most grating out of the 4, but she's the unhinged one, which is whatever. I mean, really, we've heard the segment before. It's right before Wargames. They talked about Wargames. They talked about Damage CTRL. Out comes Bayley. And they essentially set up the main event. 2 members of Damage CTRL are taking on Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. Given the history, they really leaned in on that, which I thought was totally appropriate. So, it was overall fine. I'm going to give it an Orange Cassidy thumbs up. Our next match, for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions, we have Judgement Day versus the Street Profits. Voices. But once again, rock in a hard place. The Street Profits, tons of momentum, newly turned heel. It was probably not a wise idea to have them lose. Then you have the Judgement Day, who are basically in the main event. They are the biggest program right now in WWE, maybe aside from Damage CTRL, Cody Rhodes, and Jey Uso. But other than that, it's just like, once again, rock in a hard place. Who's going to win? Who's going to come out on top? But I think they did this well. It was a good match. It was structured very well. There were times where Judgment Day looked like they were about to lose, and it took Rhea Ripley distraction for the Street Profits to lose. So it had to take outside interference for them to lose. I don't know why Bobby Lashley was upset. He was watching the match. And it was a coup de grace for the win. It was a clean win. I think maybe it would have been better if it was like roll up with shenanigans. I think that probably would have worked better. But I think structurally, they did redeem it to an extent. Couldn't have done better? Definitely. But it is what it is. I'm going to give it an Orange Cassidy thumbs up, though. We didn't have to come to this point. The Tag Team Champions could have been defended the week after with this same exact match, and it wouldn't have been as predictable. So this was the advertisement. Grayson Waller effect featuring Kevin Owens. But it wasn't Kevin Owens, it was Austin Theory dressed as Kevin Owens. They went back and forth. Out comes Kevin Owens pretty much immediately, and they were like, no, you're not supposed to be out here. This was just to make fun of you. Okay, I don't know why. It's not, I mean, they announced that Kevin Owens was off suspension that day. Literally yesterday during the day. So why did they go through with the segment? They should have waited until this moment for it to happen. I knew that Kevin Owens was no longer suspended. So why bother doing this segment when you already know Kevin Owens is out of suspension? Then out comes LA Knight. Huge pop for him. They attack the heels, throw all the Grayson Waller effect stuff out of the ring, and that's set up for the next match. But for this, I'm going to give it an Orange Cassidy thumbs up. But now we have Kevin Owens and Kevin Owens and LA Knight taking on A-Town Down Under. Fun match, well structured. I thought it was straightforward. People were super into it. BFT for the win. Orange Cassidy thumbs up. Carlito segment. So Carlito got a tattoo and Santos Escobar had a moan about it because apparently Carlito is not apparently quote unquote family, that Santos and LWO were family. We saw none of them, including Zelina Vega, for some reason. Then Carlito and Santos got into a big brawl, which I'm very happy with. And then this injury angle confuses me. Is Carlito actually hurt, or is this just to bolster Santos a little bit more? Because I think they could have done the same effect, but at Survivor Series tonight. Probably would have worked better. Unless Carlito is actually hurt, but he looked fine. So why the injury angle? Did Rey Mysterio actually get foot surgery, or was that part of an angle? Now, if it's part of an angle, I guess it can kind of make sense, but then Dragon Lee is going to be replacing Carlito at the pay-per-view. It just seems sort of backwards and out of nowhere. So it's almost blurring the lines if this is kayfabe or not. I'm going to give this an Orange Cassidy thumbs up. If it is kayfabe, then sure, whatever. I think it could have been done better with maybe even doing it once again at Survivor Series. But if it's real, then at the very least, this was a way for Carlito to get out of this without further damage. Then it makes Santos look more dangerous. So, I don't know. It's, once again, a double-edged sword here. Brawling Brutes versus Pretty Deadly. I like the match. I liked Ridge Holland sort of fucking off because he seems, I'm not sure what emotion he's trying to convey. Frustration, annoyance, or what? Because it was an accident, and why still hold on to it a week after it happened? It's like you're having a pity party, and it makes him look like a dork. What I liked about it is that Pretty Deadly didn't win immediately after Ridge Holland left, but Pretty Deadly still looked good in the match. They won with a crucifix roll-up. Butch really fought hard, so he kept strong, and it looks like they're going to continue that rivalry after Survivor Series. We're just trying to get past Survivor Series into going into Royal Rumble, or whatever is going to be the December pay-per-view, if there is a December pay-per-view. It was fine. I'm going to give an Orange Cassidy thumbs up. Main event time. Damage controls Asuka and Bayley taking on Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch. Well-structured, fun main event, and I liked what they did here with the accidental spear to Becky. She looks annoyed at Charlotte. The announcers were like, that was clearly an accident, and it was clearly an accident. Becky didn't believe it, though. They got into an argument. Bayley pushes Becky into Charlotte and rolls up Becky for the win. They continue to have their frustrations, and it's really adding a dynamic to the pay-per-view. And clearly, Becky and Charlotte are okay with continuing this rivalry, because they wouldn't be working together if they didn't. They're professionals. That's the difference here. Well, other than the title exchange situation, but I think they sort of squashed that. That was not professional, and they were probably reprimanded for it. But that was SmackDown. Let me know what you thought about not only my review, but SmackDown in the comments down below or right over here next to me. Subscribe to the channel, become a patron, get hats, and follow all of my social medias, and all of that will be linked in the link tree down below in the description or in the bio of this video or this profile. And as always, be majestic.